Come to bed.
Why do we fall for the people we do? Only a quarter of those in our Good Sex Guide survey knew for sure why they fancy someone. Tonight, we reveal the hidden triggers of sexual attraction, triggers which are powerful, explosive and controlling. And yet most of us don't realise just how they shape our lives. We're at the mercy of our responses to another person's looks. Why am I such a sucker for bushy eyebrows? Weird. There must be some explanation.
OK. You're going undercover. There's 3 suspects. Albert Wheeler, Ronnie J and Jeff Wood. Now, I want them followed tight and hard. I want you to stick so close to these men that we have to peel you off. You're the hairs on the back of their necks. You're the towels on their bodies. You're their second skins. You're even the droplets of sweat that run down their backs and trickle between their buttocks. All right?
All right.
Hollis and Clark.
Sir.
You take Albert Wheeler, age 38, 5'5", scar on the left collarbone, last seen in the Lambeth area.
Can't take him, sir, sorry.
Why not?
He's a short man with glasses, sir.
So?
He'll be shy of women, sir. He'll run a mile if he sees us.
That's right. We'll never get close to that one, sir.
Good thinking. Cooper and Jones.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You take Wheeler. Hollis and Clark. You can take Ronnie J, if you can find him. Last known address in Kingston. Also known as Muscles, because he pumps a lot of iron.
Hold on, sir.
Now what, Hollis?
He hasn't got, like, breasts, has he, sir?
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, when bodybuilders take steroids, they get them horrible, swollen bosoms.
Yeah, and hairy shoulders.
Are you two mucking me about?
No, sir, it's just if he's got hairy shoulders and breasts, we could be looking for a transvestite, sir.
Who carries a razor.
And that's their speciality.
Eh?
Eh? Ronnie J, donkey jacket, trainers, jeans, no mention whatsoever of a bra or excess body hair.
Thank you, sir. In that case, we'll handle him.
Good. Lastly, Jeff Wood, age 29, 6'2", ex-gymnast. Got a penthouse flat in Knightsbridge.
Just one night with him, sir, that's all we ask.
Have you got a photo of his bum?
This is serious. I want this man banged up.
So do we, sir.
Gough. Nice one. They've got him, Jeff Wood. He's in the cells. All right, I'll send the bodies right down. He's thrown a wobbler, kicking and screaming. They need help for a strip search.
It's the start to every relationship, how we react to each other's looks. We measure how much we fancy a new face in 1/10 of a second. What we see in them features tells us whether to leg it or to take things a whole lot further. To see this in action, we asked women in Newcastle to draw their ideal man using police computers. We're going to see if we can find your perfect dream man on this screen.
What a job.
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a job. Can you tell me if you think that a man's face is really important to what you
Yes.
find attractive?
The eyes, very much so, and then the mouth.
We look at a nose or earlobe and jump to all sorts of conclusions about its owner.
I think that you can tell someone when you look into the eyes, you know, you think, is he or isn't he? You know, you can tell if they're telling the truth, I think.
I just like blue eyes, that's it.
You just go for blue eyes?
Honest eyes, yes.
They're honest?
Yes.
Now, what colour hair?
Dark.
Dark.
Either brown, black, you know.
What's that say to you when they've got that colour in?
Warm, nice warm man.
Oh.
You know, the kind that they likes to give you cuddles and stuff.
If you're out or something and you see someone and he's got that jaw, it's just like, oh, go on.
If a man's got thin lips, they look shifty and not trustworthy.
That's it. That's him. That's the man. That's who I would go for if I see him. Like, just looking at him there, you can see that he's nice.
Do you think he's going to be good in bed, that type of face?
Aye.
Why? And this is little me inside the eFit computer. Now, if my eyes were further apart, you'd think I was stupid. Closer and smaller, you'd think I was mean. Bigger eyes and lips, and you might make the mistake of thinking I'm a dumb blonde. Longer neck and nose, and I look like a bit of a toff. But can we really tell what lurks inside a person from the smile or the shape of the jaw? I'm here to find out what our computer portraits can tell us about whether there's a universal Mr. Gorgeous. Our looks more important than we realise. Dr. Miriam Tyso studies the psychology of relationships. She's here to cast a critical eye over our masterpieces. Miriam, do the same characteristics keep coming up on the e-fits that women find attractive?
Yes, they do. Researchers have found that what women like is strong cheekbones and large, prominent chins. And the idea is that from the evolutionary point of view, what women are supposed to like is strong, dominant and mature men to protect you and bring you resources and food and fend off ravaging mammoths.
Is that all it is, then?
Absolutely not. I mean, the idea that women just want dominant men who are going to sort of carry them over their saddlebacks is no longer true. And women also want men that they can cooperate with and even nurture and look after. And one of the signals of somebody we think we can nurture is big eyes, which make us think of babies. And again, every single e-fit, they have gigantic eyes.
Oh, they do?
That seems to work as well. And the other thing is that women want men who are tender and sensitive and loving and affectionate. And so the other thing women like is a big smile. And if you look at these pictures, they nearly all either are smiling or at least they look twinkly.
So if a fella's got a nice, big, wide smile, it means he's dead sensitive?
Well, the trouble is, that's just what we think. You see, we make these initial judgments, and then, of course, we often get to be disappointed. It's just that we want, appearance is so important, we want to find out something quickly about the person. We make all these judgments, and of course, very often, and sadly and disappointingly, we turn out to be wrong.
Once there was a prince, and he lived in a wonderful castle. He was exceptionally stupid.
Fly, my pretty, fly.
Probably the most stupid prince that ever was. But he had good pectorals and a firm bum. So he was deemed to be a good catch, and a bit of all right to boot. All the princesses came from far and wide to try and win his heart. But the prince was fussy.
I have slain the dragon as you commanded, and now I come to claim my prize.
You didn't say please. I come to claim my prize, please. Good day to you.
10 years of fighting, and I forget my manners.
Oh, make a mess all over the floor, why don't you?
Eventually, the king's patience wore thin.
Your mother and I are tired of this. Tonight, we are going to hold a feast. And at that feast, there will be 3 suitors. And you will choose one of them to be your bride.
And so that night, the feast began. The prince judged the princesses carefully, for he knew that one of them must be his wife. The first was a redhead. Her face was beautiful, but her heart was cold. And besides, she was a redhead. The second was blonde, with a curvaceous figure. But she was greedy and jealous, and only wanted to marry the prince for his money. The third princess was not quite as fair as the other 2. She thought her hips a little too wide, and she worried about cellulite. But she was wise and good. She charmed the prince with her witty conversation. She was kind, and she had taken a course in aromatherapy massage. Her beauty was within. The time came for the prince to make his decision. The 2 beautiful princesses were sure he would choose one of them. And yes, he did. He went for the blonde one with the big tits. Because that's the kind of dick he was.
The evidence is, although we all value attractiveness, what actually happens in terms of forming relationships is that we tend to go for the most attractive person that we think we can get. So if we think we're sort of not stunning, we're not going to go after a stunning person and risk rejection. So the net effect of this process is we end up with someone pretty much at the same level of attractiveness as ourselves.
Hilly Marshall earns a living by assessing people on the looks. She runs a personal dating service. Her business depends on skill and judgment, and she's one hard gal.
In general, I wouldn't put a very, very attractive man with a very unattractive woman, because initially I don't feel that they would probably be attracted to each other. I think that the man would probably be wanting somebody more towards his attractiveness, and the woman might feel very, very insecure because she might feel that this man was completely out of her league.
We all know we secretly mark other people's looks. He's a 7 out of 10. Ooh, but she's an 8.5. But what we don't always realise is that we mark ourselves as well.
I think we're all pretty ruthless with marking our friends and strangers, and we're also pretty ruthless with ourselves. And we know what is within our grasp, within our range.
Hilly showed me how it works when we spied on some couples. Each member of the girls' team is sleeping with one of the boys' team. But hey, who scored with who?
Lovely,
lovely elos.
Very sweet. Now, I think that G could possibly be with C. I think they've got a similar physique, a similar look.
How many points for G?
7, and I'd give C 8.
This is how our couples pair off, according to Hilly's expert eye. Of course, power of fame bump up your points, and a fat wallet can make up for a fat paunch. But for most of us, looks are the crucial factor. Hilly got the first 4 couples right. She got the last 2 wrong, but they were all 8s, and so they may as well have copped off at the other partners. But all this still doesn't explain the full picture of why we end up with the partner we do. So, your ideal man is tall, with a huge mane of dark hair, gorgeous green eyes, and a lovely round bum. But in real life, your partner is short, stocky, picky brown eyes and fair hair. What's going on? Find out in part 2. You're enjoying a nice quiet drink with a friend when you clap eyes on a fella with whopping big ears, or a girl with a huge nose, and wham, your legs turn to jelly and you start to stammer. How come the oddest details of someone's looks can change the whole course of your life?
There is a theory that we have in our heads a love map. This is a set of triggers of things that make us feel, ooh. They could be a way of laughing, a way of walking, having large blue eyes, having dark curly hair, having a particular kind of mouth. And these triggers have been built up throughout our lives because they're linked with feelings of being loved and feelings of being excited sexually and aroused. Each of us has a unique love map because it's the product of our unique life experiences. So, for example, our father might have had a large squashy nose and gigantic ears, and we felt very loved by him. So when we see large ears and squashy noses, we remember love, we remember feeling loved. We might have had a tremendously passionate, exotic encounter behind the bicycle sheds when we were 18 with somebody with a big dimple. And it may be that the dimple then feeds into our love map, and we see dimples and go, oh, and we don't really know why. So we have this whole set of triggers. And when we see a new person, if they actually have quite a lot of these triggers, we just look at them and we go, ah, wow.
Darcy, shall we play our game tonight? Oh, save me! Save me from the cruel white slavers. I'll do anything if you'll save me. What is it, Tarzy? Don't you want me under your skin anymore?
I don't know, Jane. I look at you and there's something missing.
Like what?
Like hooves and rabies and hair that goes all the way down to your bottom.
But I've got hair that goes all the way down to my bottom.
Well, not growing out your back, you haven't. And I have this urge for a woman that shows more leg.
Okay, how much more?
Well, 2 more, really.
Oh, I get it. I know what you really want. You'd like me to walk round on my knuckles, wouldn't you? Perhaps do a bit of bottom sniffing.
Go on.
Oh, yes. And maybe you'd like me to groom your armpits and then eat the proceeds.
Oh.
Or make cute little noises. Like Cheetah.
Leave Cheetah out of this. It's nothing to do with her, specifically.
Oh, it's all the women you grew up with, is it? Maybe I should put on some weight, or grow a trunk, or loll about under a tree, chewing a zebra.
You couldn't manage a couple of horns and an udder as well, could you?
And to think I bothered to have my bikini line waxed before I came. Well, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm going back to England. I know when I'm not wanted.
Hi, Cheetah, it's me. Why don't you swing on by? Wear that wee furry thing.
Love maps program us to fall for certain physical types. And these love maps make us drawn to certain personality types and all. But what if your type is no good for you? You don't want to play out your destiny like some Greek tragedy. The question is, can you take your love map and cut out the dodgy bit? Fellas, are your girlfriends always breaking your heart? And girls, do you fall for men who treat you like dirt? Over there is John Cord, and he always goes for tough-looking blondes. Trouble is, they're every bit as tough as they look, just like me. And next to him is Stephanie Groth. She just can't resist men with attitude, bad attitude. Can they redraw the love maps? Well, they're here to try over a spot of lunch with sex counsellor Susie Heyman.
Steph, tell me the sort of people you fall in love with.
Addicts, alcoholics, unavailable guys, people who abandon me or abuse me in one way or another, you know, whichever way it is, you know, financially, emotionally, sexually, whatever.
What do you get out of it then?
Kicks, not a lot of happiness, as you can imagine, because that's not really the kind of person I actually want to be with. But there's usually a lot of chemistry between the two of us, and that's the trap I fall into.
What about you, John? What sort of people do you fall in love with?
I'm the blonde bombshell type, you know. Blonde hair, preferably platinum, high cheekbones, good teeth, big eyes, sparkling, full of fun. That sort of bird, that's it, I'm off.
Why that sort of physical type?
Because that, to me, is not only sexually alluring, but also I find that type a challenge. You know, the Ice Maiden, Anita Ekberg, sort of Faye Dunaway, that kind of...
Movie stars?
Yeah, movie stars. Well, when I was a kid, to get away from the austerity of life, you go to pictures. There's your fantasy, your romantic love. Meet her, the end, happy ever after.
And it doesn't work that way,
Of course it doesn't.
You see, OK, we've looked at what attracts you and what attracts you, John. Consciously, what the person looks like, how they behave, but also, in fact, what strings they're pulling. My suggestion is that next time you see somebody that has that effect on you, you know, that makes your heart race and your pulse go and everything, look for those strings. Look for what it is that actually is attracting you. Not just the way they look, but the way they act. Once you know what those strings are, you may not be able to banish them entirely. You're still going to go for that type of person. But at least you'll be slightly more in control. You'll know what the strings are all about. You understand yourself. And you can then start controlling that. You're in control. So that's the thing to do. Don't let the initial pull, the initial charge, totally have control over you. Look at it, examine it, understand it. And then you can turn it around sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the theory. Come on, let's put it into practice. I've set up a night on the town for John and Stephanie. They're going to join me on this boat for a singles party. Can John learn to give gorgeous blondes a wide berth? Can Stephanie make herself fancy a more normal fella? I'm going to slip into a cunning disguise so I can keep my eye on them without drawing attention to myself.
I don't want a hundred love affairs. I need someone who really cares.
One of the hardest lessons to learn about relationships is that the person you feel drawn to may not be right for you.
Help yourself to a love potion.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Men often seem to find it harder than women to alter the type they go for. They're just led by the eyes, I suppose.
Now you are not only feminine, but you're a God's angel.
Right, we're supporting the distraction off.
Stephanie is too near your type. Try that fella over there. He's gorgeous. He's looking at you now. Look.
If there were places on Mars that look like you, men would go there, but they're not.
It takes real willpower to ignore that rush of adrenaline when you see your type and go for someone who's probably in the long run much more suited to you. But if you're looking for someone to share a bed, babies and your pension with, it's got to be worth the effort. John, there's an urgent phone call for you from a brunette.
Yes.
John.
Well, yeah. Nice.
John, happy days.
Happy days.
Have you been still tempted towards these blonde bombshells?
Yes, I have. There was one over there who was absolutely gorgeous. And I suppose that I will carry on and nothing will ever change. I don't think anything's going to change, although I did listen.
Stephanie, you're up for change, aren't you?
I'm fed up with getting hurt, with having my heart broken, yes.
Do you think you can redraw your love map?
I think I'm doing it, you know, as we speak in my life. Because really what I'm looking for are, you know, good qualities. Someone who will not abuse me, someone who will respect me, someone who will hear me.
Will you know love when it comes?
I'm learning to recognise it. I'm learning, you know, about what love is, because I, you know, up until very recently, I wouldn't truthfully have been able to say that I know what it actually is.
In our survey, we asked people what they would like to change about the partner. We gave them lots of options, like 2 extra inches on his penis, a tighter vagina, or bigger breasts. Well, it's nice to know that half the people surveyed love their partner just as they are and wouldn't alter a thing. Next week, dangerous liaisons. Good night.